the new Inforce ARC weapons light. Let's check it out. Inforce is known for its weapons-mounted lights, but typically they're polymer. They have white light, they also have IR light. And they've been making lights for not only civilians, but also for military and law enforcement. Now they're introducing their ARC. This is the Model 650. It has 1,400 lumens and it has a really long beam distance. These are M-LOK compatible. They have a number of different mounts, but they also have the ARC Model 350, which is 1,200 lumens. And again, as those M-LOK mounts, it can fit to your handguard exactly where you want it. So we're going to go through the details of the light. We're also going to take it out and do some night shooting and see what this ARC series is all about. And a big thank you to Inforce for sending the ARC 650 for this review. All right, guys, Inforce out of Mansfield, Texas. They've been around for a long time. In fact, you probably know them by this configuration, which is a polymer body, and yet it has the LED, which can get very hot. Engineered a way to be able to use these polymer lights. And I'll tell you what, guys, they're incredibly bright. They're very dependable. I've had this particular light for a number of years. Honestly, probably 10 years. And it still works great. I do have a couple of their rifle lights as well, and they do make some IR options. These are just a staple for a lot of guys, and they do service a lot of military and law enforcement. In fact, they are mil standard, tested, certified. And they've also made just a polymer flashlight. Now, I think this one is now discontinued, but this is a great light. In fact, the battery that's in here has been in here since I got it, and I just picked it up, and it still runs. One, though, that I really like is their Wild 2, and it is the first time they've gone to an all aluminum body, and it really held up well. So we're going to look at, though, something a little bit different with the new ARC 650, and that's the LRM. Now, they also make a smaller version, the ARC 350. Some slight differences, we'll talk about those, but these are both the Model 650. And it's really good to see lights that are made right here in the USA. There are a few parts that are imported, but they use domestic parts, and they do all the assembly right in Texas. Now, this is a 1,400 lumen flashlight. We have a tail switch, and then we have 1,400 lumens. The beautiful thing about this is that it has a very deep reflector, and that's what gives it throw. Now, this is a beam distance of 600 meters, and that big, deep reflector, and it's smooth, polished, that really allows for light transmission to go from a long distance. One thing, though, that we noticed is that it does put out a nice flood as well. So you had that really intense hot spot, and then you have a flooded area, which you really need, especially in a tactical situation, because you want to see what's going on around you, not just that one hot spot. And so this is an aluminum body. It's 6061 T6 aluminum. Has a Type 3 hard anodized finish on it, and very durable. Now, these have been tested previously. We got these as test samples, and they are a little beat up, but man, we really put them through the ringer, and they've really held up well. They are M-LOK compatible. Now, this has an extended M-LOK rail. And so we just go ahead and attach this anywhere to the rail. We'll show you how we set it up, and then the light just mounts to it. These are brand new. These have just been launched when this video has come out. And so there's some information that I don't quite have, but I do have most of the specs. And this is an offset mount, M-LOK. It fits to your rail. It gives it really close to the handguard. And so I really like that system. Now the Inforce ARC is compatible with your Scout setup. And here we have a standard Scout mount. It fits right in here. And of course everything lines up. So you're going to have a lot of possibilities because there's a lot for the Surefire system. Here with the original mount, this fits exactly right here with the Inforce mount with your Surefire. Another big plus is your tail caps. So I can take my tail cap off, I can take the Surefire tail cap, and it will go right on the ARC. And so that also gives you some other options, especially if you're running some Surefire mounts. But vice versa, your Inforce mounts for the ARC will also fit on your Surefires. But also we can take the Surefire remote switch, and that just goes right in. Again, guys, if you've already got your Surefire, it's going to be easy to kind of transition this in and out. But it also has a lot of aftermarket support around the Surefire mount. So that is a big plus for the ARC. It gives you a lot of capability, and it's just going to make it easier to transition. And aside from the tail switch, the heads are also replaceable. It's one of the things that Surefire has done. There's a lot of different options. And you can go with IR, which IR works really well. You can go with just the head instead of the entire light, and you can attach it here to the ARC and it works. So a lot of interchangeability, and we'll go ahead and put the Inforce on the Surefire. And that way, if you have any issues with your Surefire or your ARC from Inforce, you have other possibilities. So just great to see a lot of capability, and guys, why reinvent the wheel when you have a very proven system? Just gives us more options. They're 5.6 inches in length. The Model 350 is 4.4 inches in length. It has 1200 lumens compared to the 1400 of the 650. And the 650 puts out 90,000 candela. So it's going to give you a really bright light to be able to lock in, and then 75,000 on the Model 350. The tail switch, of course, we just press, momentary, and then if we deep press or click, then we have constant on. And guys, I'm telling you, it is incredibly bright, and it is a great thrower. We were testing it out, and you can really see distance, which is very important for a rifle light, because typically you're going to have more distant capability. So you want to have a light that can reach out there. Now the pressure pad switch is nestled into this ring, and so that way it doesn't inadvertently come on. But it's very little to be able to press it. But if you want to have it in lockout mode, all you have to do is take the bezel and turn it a quarter of a turn. And a very simple lockout. I like that because a lot of times lights you have to go through a sequence and then just turn it back and it's back on. And that way you don't just inadvertently bump it if you really have to go dark, because you don't want your light to come on when you don't want it to. Now, without the mount, this weighs 6.1 ounces with the battery. The Model 350 is 4.9 ounces with the battery. And the battery is a 18650, so it's very common. Just take off your bezel, and then here is your battery, and of course this is rechargeable. And these lithium-ion batteries are fantastic. They could put two CR123s in here. Typically I like to have a sleeve, especially for rifle, because you do have a little bit of recoil, and the 18650 is a little bit thicker and it fits very well into the body. And the battery is protected, so that way it doesn't just come on, it doesn't overheat. These are also IPX8, which means that they are submersible up to 2 meters for 30 minutes. And part of that has to do with the gaskets that are around here. Here and at the back we have rubber gaskets, so when you lock this down, it just seals it up. And so if you're on lockout, you probably want to go ahead and tighten that down for it to be IPX8. And the runtime on the battery on the Model 650 is 2 hours and 45 minutes, and that's pretty good considering you have such a high lumen output. Now we did some night testing with suppressors. We were using a couple of Tipmans. We had one of the bug out Tipmans, which is really short. I had the offset mount on it, And man, that was a lot of fun, and it really brightened up that target. We were shooting rubber dummies, and I'll tell you, it was just a very intense hot spot, and yet you saw the flood around it. And then with the extended mount, we had it on a standard Tippmann AR-22 and with the long rail, and so it allowed for me to get right up there next to the handguard, and man, we shot a lot of rounds through it, and it was hot, but it was a lot of fun. I mean, it really does brighten up your target area, and that's one of the most important things.
Guys, we're going to test the light. We're going to talk about why you have a weapons light on your rifle. First off is you need to be able to identify. Now, right now, it's not quite pitch black. We still have a little bit of light, but we have a thunderstorm coming, so I'm going to go ahead and get some light in. But here, you can actually see the targets. But last night when I was shooting, you couldn't see anything. So with this light, it really brightens up things. Now I'm able to identify and get detail on what I'm looking at, especially if I'm pointing my rifle. And so you want to be able not just to see a shape, but you want to be able to identify especially a threat. And guys, this is only about 15 yards out. Okay guys, here we are at 50 yards, and as you can see, man, that just brightens up that whole area down there. And you can get a better idea of the flood around it. It's not a diffuse beam, it's definitely a pinpoint beam, and then you have that flood around it. It just gives you that peripheral vision on the sides. But now you can see it's pretty dark down there without it. And again, that's where you get the detail. All right guys, now we're at 100 yards off. As you can see, there's nothing to see. It's just really dark, and of course those woods are making it even darker. And I'm going to shine the light. 100 yards, again, I mean, this thing is brilliant on that bank. So you're getting a lot of light down there, and as I'm looking at it through my naked eye, I can tell that that is easy to identify what's down there. All right guys, we're now at 175 yards. I can see exactly what's down there. As you can see, it's raining a little bit. And this will go a lot farther than that. So this is as far as I've got for a test. According to Inforce, it has a beam distance of 600 meters. I think maybe it does. Look at that beam. That is incredible, very impressive.
Inforce is an American company, and these are assembled in the U.S. using domestic and some imported parts as well. They are mill standard testing certified, and so these are good for military contracts and of course law enforcement. 1400 lumens and a 600 meter beam distance. I mean, it really gets the light out there as we've demonstrated, and it'll do much better. Now, as far as price, we're looking at about $220 is what I'm getting, and of course street price may be less. They do have some upgraded kits, pro kits, things like that with different mounts. They're even doing a standard handheld light. And so we're going to look at around, again, the $220 range as far as MSRP. And guys, they're also going to be doing a whole ecosystem around this with your remote switches, with just momentary on, some different options with the heads where it's more diffuse beam or pinpoint. And so it gives us a real premium option for, honestly, a reasonable price. A lot of cool features, and again, Inforce has been around for a long time making really premium lights. It's great to see these aluminum-bodied rifle lights. They're durable, they're going to withstand a lot of abuse, and these have actually, even before I got them, and they've just held up extremely well. Again, Inforce has been in business for a long time producing lights for military, law enforcement, and civilians. Again, typically toward the polymer side. But with the new ARC 650 and 350, these are giving you really great rifle options that get way out to distance. And they're built like tanks. And again, a big thank you to Inforce for sending the ARC 650 and 350 for this review. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic.
you Inforce.
Well, we're going to do that again.
And a big thank you to Inforce for sending the. And a big thank you. Okay.
Now the tail switch is nestled into the back of the polymer with the checkering on it, with the texturing on it. And here mounted on your rifle, you
may see a shape out there, but you may not know what it is. Now this is about 15 yards off.
Lights, and again, that